a new update to our fleet status. Tommy's going to be presenting on that. We have a lot going on actually at the end of this week on that. Shift schedule rewrite. Talk a little bit about that, but also going to hit where a lot of our crews are going to 5/8 next week. Just some points on to be aware of. Randall's going to go through again a little bit more reminder, crossing midnight, not in extreme detail. We did a lot of that last month, but we're going to post in our chat some of our videos on crossing midnight. Take any of your questions, but he wants to highlight a few things on review and submit. Winter materials, going to go again into that. Just a reminder to be looking at that. Just a reminder some of the things that have caused us problems in the past. Non-maintenance, Randall's going to go through again some of our supplemental help, the documentation for them, talk through a little bit of what that looks like. Again, we'll add some of our videos there to the chat.
We're supposed to get to.
Then we'll talk about leave request. We've had an issue out there with being able to delete leave requests, and so Tom's going to talk through that a little bit. Then I will spend some time. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit of time here at the end, and we're going to talk through all of our learning data. So we've got a lot going on with that we just loaded on Friday, and be talking through those pieces of information. And so with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and take off here. Start with work plans. Would encourage you, again, if anyone has questions, just raise your hand there or put it in the chat. We'll answer those as we're going along. If you've got anything there that you would like to discuss and have us address there. So please don't not ask. We'd far rather you let us know that there is a concern that you have and that we can address that. All right, so would encourage you all. We've had this link up here since last Thursday. This is Safety Minute about some new geotab awareness and work zones on I-70. Encourage you to take a look at that. Just kind of look through that piece of information. So work plans. We do this in preparation of the next calendar year. You have the ability to go in and see what are you going to have for that next year. So work plans are due basically kind of mid-December is when those are actually due. I'd have to kind of look at the date right now, but it's just right before December 15th. And I've started noticing some of those approvals coming through from some of the districts. Many of you as supervisors, that's what you very easily starting to turn your attention to. You're looking at working through our fall mowing, finished up the work plans for this year. We've started moving towards winter things, but now kind of getting this work plan ready. So you can come out here and you can turn on the work plan, and I can just turn on our asphalt pavement repair. That's where we've got located. So a couple of things about creating a work plan. Again, you want to be thinking through how much money do you have. Superintendents, maintenance engineers have distributed superintendents down the buildings. You can see that information in budget. Again, encourage you guys as supervisors here. If you go to the budget module, your superintendent can allocate that money down to that level. We believe that is a best practice to have that kind of down there. Things do change through the year, but at least allows you to kind of know where work is being scheduled at. So if I'm in the central district here, zoom in, and you'll notice again, these green lines are ones that this is planned work. And I'm going to use Route A here as an example. This is really what we want to see, that if we are marking where we intend to do that work, right? Notice how they didn't do some in the middle. Be as accurate as you can when you select your locations. Be mindful of where you think you're going to be placing that mix or those pipe. You don't have to be perfect. We're not searching for that kind of a thing, but have an awareness that I'm really not going to work on the entire route. So like when we select all of this route over here, what basically we're saying, we intend in this next calendar year 2025, we're going to end up putting, say like this one here, we're going to put 1,200 tons on this route. Okay. Now, again, that would take far more than 1,200 tons to overlay that entire route, but we're going to do enough work that's how much that is. We're going to work intermittently through the whole route. Perfect. But if we really are going to stay on one end, go in there edit that length, get that back to where you plan on working. At the same time, one of the most important things about work plans is your date range. So we encourage you to make sure that you are actively thinking through when are we going to do that work. So if I go like to the grid, so as those who have built work plans, as you know, it's one of the first things you do is ask the question, what's the date range for a specific work activity. That's one of the first things that you'll have to select. So think through that again. When you pick that activity, when is the highest likelihood of you doing that work? Okay. So I'll take an example here. This is in Mexico. This is some 22M. That's hand marking, right? So they've got it from May through October. Okay, that's pretty good. Again, think through these. The ones that's likely you need to consider looking into a little bit more. Sometimes are these ones where we're talking about all the way from a March to a December. Okay, and I know sometimes we might not know exactly, but I would be thinking as much in what part of the year are we going to be doing this more before July or after July? The reason I say that, that will help get this estimated material cost. It will help get it into the right physical year. So if Mexico really believes in likelihood we're going to be out here doing this concrete repair in the spring, I'd back that up and say March through end of June, right? Or if we're really going to be doing that in the fall, then make that a July through end of year. We really believe that's best practice. Again, when we come in here and we pick something, like this example here, Mexico's got from May to October. Again, just thinking through that process, that's a really good thing to step through, talk with your superintendent. Are we going to rotate distributors around? When do we intend to do the work? And what it'll do, it'll help tie these costs into your budget much better. Um, Again, we're not looking for perfection. We just want it to not be something we've haphazardly thrown something in here. Think through it, come up with the best that you understand at this point, put that date range, but realistically, these date ranges need to reflect more of what I'm going to do up till July and what I'm going to do after July to help fit into your fiscal year. Material. So one of the changes that we did on here, this you have the ability that you can come into your material cost and you can actually update a particular cost. So let's say, for instance, right now they're a liquid asphalt. They got set at 255. So if I was to come in here, I can come to that 255 for that liquid asphalt. Oh, I hit the mix. I didn't mean to do that. I come here for this 255 and I can change that. I can make that $3. Okay. If I do that $3, what it's going to do, it's going to change everything for that type of commodity, liquid asphalt cutbacks, for this one org for that calendar year 2025. So basically, and for the activity of R312. But that way you're not having to go into all of your asphalt for your building and change all of them. You can apply that change in cost and it will do that then to everything for that one commodity for your org, and keep that there. Okay. So that was one of our changes that we made, that we feel like that's a good benefit. The work plans, as much as anything, is just make sure you take your time to work through it. That's where you're going to spend the money. It's not, we really want you, and we appreciate everyone who really takes it, specifically. One of the things that we've done with these work plans is that when we start doing the work now, we're starting to have the ability to look at how well did we plan versus what we did. Overall, we're getting about $80 million is how much we get from federalization for the work that we do, which is pretty substantial in that ability of being able to turn that work in. And you'll notice that if you come to the Power BI, you get those reports. One of these reports that was just written a few months ago allows us to look at planned versus actual. So you can come down here and look at this planned versus actual. You can look into your district. and see how well something's going. So, for instance, we could look at, I'm going to hit reset to 2024. That helps these just kind of reload here. And let's go look at something like, we'll just stay on 312. If you want to, you can type in here a different one, so let's type in 319. Let's just do that one. So if I pick 319, here's for the entire state. We were estimating about 79,000 linear feet of pipe. We've done 110. But here's what's interesting, right? We had 618 individual routes picked, but when we went and did the work, we placed on 305 of those planned routes. Right? So we picked Route J, we picked Route W, we picked Route O, but when we actually did the work, we only put it on half of the planned routes. Now, we might have put it on a bunch of routes we didn't plan, right? And so I don't know that I know the perfect number, the goal. I mean, it's not 100%. We're not trying to be like that, right? We're making a best plan of what we know, but you can start challenging yourself. What should it look like? Should we be closer? Maybe 60, 70%. Is that a good gauge for us of where we need to intentionally say, this is where we're going to work and what are we going to do? Now, the first thing that comes to mind, well, a lot of people tell us stuff. Absolutely. So when you're making your work plans, please don't make them in a silo. Get a hold of the area engineer. The superintendent's a part of it. The maintenance engineer is a part of it. District management's aware of it, right? But things still change, and that's why this won't be 100%. It can't be, right? But we can challenge ourselves to, okay, did we, with intentionality, did we choose our work and did we work our plan? Again, you'll see even on asphalt, right? We planned about 1,000 routes. We did 600 of those. It puts us at 55%. So, again, I think us challenging ourselves to see how can we, what makes sense, right? When I make this plan, where should we be at? Does 70% sound more logical of planning something and doing that, and doing through that? So again, encourage you guys, anything about work plans, just please reach out to us. Any of the team members, we can answer your questions on those. Just work through them. Look at it. Now, the last thing I think I want to share about work plans is that, particularly in 2024, we really had some kind of started stepping out there. And I'm going to use the Central District as an example. I think they really asked some really great questions. They wanted to know, so can I plan more of my money? And one of the questions was, can I plan things like signing, right? Which is something that often we're just responsive to, right? But they knew, for the most part, this is the kind of money we spend on signing each year. Absolutely, why not? They plan their expenses for their facilities. That comes out of their E&E budget. Our point is, the more you plan, the more you're going to have an ability to tie it into your zero-based budget. When you plan and you're intentional about location, material cost, what you're going to do, it ties directly into budget, and then you have the ability to come in here and say, well, this is how much money I plan on spending in that next fiscal year. So if I went to, let's say, with the Central District, and I go to their budget, I could come in here and I could say, okay, this is where we are right now for this fiscal year on all these spendings, but I can go to future years. Up here at the top, future work plan estimates, and I can come in here and I can say, well, hey, in that next 26 fiscal year, this is the kind of estimated material cost, and it's coming straight from those work plans you're building based upon the date range. And now we start saying, that's my budget I plan on spending. All right. So we tie a lot of things together, but it comes down to some very specific pieces. Planning what you're really going to do, know your money, use a good date range, ask questions, challenge yourself to do more activities. Some of those activities, when Central District asked us about it, we put down the location. We ended up just using the maintenance building. We didn't have a spot. We didn't know where a sign was going to go. I think they maybe even did a little bit of planning on salt. That's okay, all right? We're going to spend this kind of money on salt, and they just picked their maintenance building for the location. No harm in that. So, all right. Thank you much for that. If you got some questions, put them in the chat or just holler out at me. But I'm going to transition now to Tommy, and he's going to share a little bit about our new Fleet Focus.
Okay, good morning. As Michael mentioned, we do have a rewritten Fleet Focus application that'll be rolling out this Thursday evening after hours. Really, what we're doing is MMS is coming up on 5 years old, and we're doing some stuff with information systems to modernize our applications and kind of set them up for the next 5 years, hopefully, if not longer. So we're rewriting them. Our goal as a dedicated team is to make as minimal changes as possible on the front end. We don't want you guys to have a completely new user experience. But we do want to make improvements and modifications as we can to make the application better, or more importantly, perform better on the back end. We can make it faster, more stable, um, get rid of any glitches, anything like that that we may experience. So we're kind of doing an overall health check as we rewrite these applications. And so fleet status is ready. It'll be rolling out, like I said, this Thursday. And really, there are a couple differences on this page. When you come to the default page, and I'm filtered down to just Central District, and you can see here, first thing is it gives you a count for how many are down and how many are available. What you will notice if you're familiar with it is you no longer have a down section and a separate available section. It's all in one list. And one of the advantages there is now you can just use the search bar, which you didn't have before. So there's a search bar over here that allows you to search for a specific unit number, and it'll take you right to it. Um, oh shoot, I did. There we go. Let me do that again. I forgot I switched districts. A639. And so by putting over here that unit number in the search bar, hit enter, it'll bring up that specific piece of equipment. What you'll see is you still have that informational button that'll bring up the specifics about that piece of equipment, just like the current application does. Um, right now, if you look at this in our UAT environment, because they are replacing Fleet Focus, which is kind of the tie-in piece of this. Hopefully, you guys received communication about that. Faster is being replaced with Fleet Focus. All of our changes for that are going to go out Thursday night as well after hours. And so right now, you only see a limited amount of equipment over here. I'm just going to select the extra heavy duty trucks. And there's actually none loaded for um, Central District right now. And I'll get rid of that and put that back. So I'm going to clear this out of here. Actually, I forgot I still had that number up there. There are some loaded. But you have a very small selection. And what that is that's a Fleet Focus project. They've only loaded so many pieces of equipment in the test environment. So that's why we only have a limited number amount if you look at UAT today. So again, everything else looks pretty familiar. You have the ability to filter across any of these rows. You could also search for a unit number here just by hitting the drop down, the filter button, and you could choose it that way. But it's really nice over here. This search feature right here will search all columns, anything it has. Maybe you just want to see all international makes. You could search international in this box, and it would filter the grid for you. So that's pretty much it on the grid as far as changes. We'll go to view images, and there's a little bit of a difference here. Again, at the top, you can see how many pieces of down equipment Central District has versus available that are extra heavy duty tandem axle trucks. You can see this looks a little bit different the way we laid out our displays. We now have the unit photo of it has one. And then we go over here. Here's our utilization column. And then you have a separate oil change and grease job column. Everything there looks and feels the same. It's just a different layout for it. And we think it just makes for an easier, cleaner experience for the users, or that's our hope. Again, same thing. You've got your informational button over here. Again, showing you all that same type of information. Now, Michael or Randall, I'm going to ask you guys to kind of talk about utilization because you're going to notice with the switch over to Fleet Focus, we're going to get messed up on our initial utilizations and stuff. And I'll let one of those guys explain that a little better.
Randall, you want to give it a shot?
I'll give it a shot. So basically, the way we're understanding it is Fleet Focus is not going to store your utilization the same way that Faster did. So utilization's not going to be brought over directly from that application. We're going to be trying to do that kind of through MMS and what you guys document, but the initial load, honestly, it's kind of up in the air of whether every piece of equipment is going to show that it needs an oil change, or every piece of equipment may show that it's 100% and good to go. Until they load that data, we don't really know how that's going to handle it. But just be aware that your utilization numbers are not going to change a lot right off the bat, and the oil change and grease jobs could show one way or the other. So unfortunately, until they load that data into production, we don't really know what we're going to be getting from them.
And so this kind of ties back into when I said General Services only loaded a few pieces of equipment in the big scheme of things. So we could only test our changes to communicate with Fleet Focus with that small group of equipment that we had. So we didn't have the full inventory of everything. So we're just not sure, and we're really not going to get to see that until we roll everything into production Thursday night. Now, I say that MMS is rolling all of our stuff to production Thursday evening. Fleet Focus is not going live until Monday the 4th, but we needed to be out in front of that. And so it will be Monday before General Services turns and flips on the switch for Fleet Focus. So I don't want to confuse you. MMS is doing our thing after hours Thursday. You will see some of that, but there will be a delay until General Services turns on Fleet Focus on next Monday.
Hey, Tommy, real quickly, I want to mention when it comes to documenting work, you really shouldn't see any changes in documenting work. So we're still pulling the information from Geotab. So the ending miles and hours are still coming from Geotab. And then the meter readings that you enter, which will become the beginning meter readings, those are all stored within MMS. So there shouldn't really be any effect to your documenting work. It's really just going to be when you go look at the usage.
So it sounds like, to just kind of a heads up, there is potentially the likelihood that there may not be a piece of equipment that is loaded yet into production come if you're documenting Friday or even potentially on Monday. I know General Services, it sounded like they were making great progress in getting all the equipment, and their goal was to have all of that done for sure this week. But the potential is that could be, and you'll just have to, it'll probably be a combination of let us know when I say you got to talk to General Services. We'll just have to see how that can work together. So it'll be really great if you guys can get all your documenting done, which I know you guys are doing a real good job overall of keeping up with your documentation. But this week especially, if you can get all the way documented up through before you go home Wednesday or Thursday, then Friday, if there are some things going on, you won't be in such a rush come Friday and Monday next week. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Michael, and he's going to talk a little bit about switching shift schedules around.
All right. So thank you guys talking about the fleet there. The shift schedule is upon us. I'm impersonating the supervisor down in Mountain Grove, Mr. Alex Foreman. A lot of our crews are switching from 410s this week to 5/8s next week. Again, these are some mass changes that all happen. I'd encourage you as supervisors, I'd call HR and just make sure kind of what's going on, that that everything's working right. What we've experienced in the past, it can be kind of hit and miss. There's just times that those big groups that are provided over OA, some get caught, some didn't get caught. So just be mindful next week when you come in and you start documenting for Monday or Tuesday, that it's Be mindful just what that looks like, right? I think many of you have had to work in those spots where you've moved to a 5.8, but all of a sudden that still is now it's still set up as a 4.10. And so don't be surprised some of that's showing up on Monday. You'll just report your normal 8, and then flex the other 2 hours. We've had to do that in some buildings for a period of time until everything from the employee profile gets to TRS and then updates MMS. And that just comes that way. But the whole intention is they're trying to get this done in advance. What can you do on your part? What do you need to do on your part? Just like Alex did, go to shift schedule. I think this is really the best way to do it. He had his schedule up through basically this weekend, doing his 4.10s Monday through Thursday, 6 to 4:30. Build you another one. That way, it's just sitting there ready for you. This starts for his crew on Sunday. It's going to take him through March when they go back to 4.10s, 6 to 2:30, working the 8s Monday through Friday. I would encourage that. I think it's better than just keep editing the same one you have. I think it's better to build a new one, in my opinion. Some of your crews, I think kind of like some of our St. Louis signal lighting crew guys, you guys kind of stay on the schedule the same all year. A lot of our bridge crews will stay on the same schedule. No problem. Encourage you, just go look at that. Make sure you haven't extended past your end date. But for those switching, highly encourage you. I would make a phone call to HR first. Have them confirm or is switching. When is it switching? Go out here, create you a new shift schedule. You can set all those employees at the times that they need to, start, stop times, check all their names. Now, who has access to this? Assistant supervisors can do this. Supervisors can do this. Superintendents can do this. We built that. Superintendents are a backup for almost everything that can be done. They are sometimes the most infrequent in here doing things, but they can do that for you. Worst case scenario, just give one of us a call. We'll help you through it. But encourage you to do that. This is also the next module we will be rewriting into our new form. Probably within the next month or so, we'll be getting that set over there. So we'll take theirs. All right. We're going to shift now to Randall's going to highlight a few items on crossing midnight, just a reminder of some things here to be aware of.
All right. Thank you, Michael. So first thing I want to point out, I'm going to go a little bit different order than what we had planned. I want to talk about the non-maintenance employees first, and then we'll look at the review and submit. Non-maintenance employees. So these are employees that have volunteered to plow snow, typically is what they're for. They do not typically document in MMS. Typically, they just go right directly to TRS. So they've come in, they volunteered to help. They are going to be able to document for snow and ice prevention and snow and ice. There's the only two activities that they have available to them. They must have a snowplow org. So HR must have assigned them a snowplow org before they get that documenting button. And then supervisors and crew leaders will see on your review and submit page that they're at the bottom of your employee list as non-maintenance. So I just want to kind of show you what it's going to look like for those non-maintenance employees. If you'll have to help them, right? Because they don't ever document in here. They really don't know a whole lot of what they're doing. They haven't had much training, so you're going to have to help them out a little bit. We need to go ahead and get them documenting in here, just so it helps us log what they do within MMS. But it also, the materials that they use, that they charge out, and the meter readings will go to SAM2. So what they're going to do, since they can only log 2 activities, they can only do 913 and 914. The rest of their time is going to be logged to this regular responsibilities. So it doesn't matter what their regular job is, it's just to the regular responsibilities. And then they document snow and ice just the same as everybody else. So for this example, you'll see that basically He's connected to the night before, plowed all night, so that's why it's got the gold color. And then he went ahead and stayed from 6 a.m. to 10:30 to finish up his day, and those 4.5 hours go to the regular responsibilities. So that's kind of the difference between a normal maintenance employee or bridge employee versus a non-maintenance. Now, review and submit. So we made a few changes. I don't know, it's probably been a year ago now, to this review and submit page to kind of help out with the crosses midnight, so you guys can keep that straight. It's extremely confusing when you got half your crew work is crossing midnight, half doesn't. It's kind of a mess. So we did a couple of things. The first thing is, if you crossed midnight, we highlighted their names in red and then added this cross midnight. That's what this CM stands for. We get this call every so often. Hey, what's that mean? That means that they've crossed midnight. So you need to kind of make sure that the job number that's connected to that crosses midnight has been populated. So what happens quite a little bit is, if an employee documents a crosses midnight, they do all of it right for the first day, but then they don't go into the next day and confirm it and go through all the windows. Sometimes it doesn't bring the job number over. So that's where you get into that whole, you've submitted it, and you got a missing job number, and you start running into problems. So the highlighted red with that CM means that they've crossed midnight. If I scroll down a little bit, you should be able to see that non-maintenance person that's here. So this is what I was talking about, how it's going to look on your review and submit, that you've got these people. Since they are non-maintenance, they do not have to have time. You can go ahead and submit. You can go ahead and submit with this person not having any time documented. That's fine. When you do submit, what's going to happen? Their time, their labor does not go to TRS like it does for normal maintenance people. The only thing that's transferred out when you hit submit is their usage for their equipment and their material usage. Those two things do go someplace. So those employees need to know that they still have to document in TRS what it is they did. Now they can print that off, take a screenshot, or they can export it, whatever they want to do to help them document in TRS to make sure all the job numbers and everything are there. But they still have to document in TRS. And then one last thing I want to show you is this expand all labor button. So when we start talking about job numbers and what those non-maintenance people need to take over, and does everybody have a job number or not, the easiest way to do this is if you click this expand all labor button. That's going to drop down who the leader was and what the job number was. So you'll see, if you remember, for 913, everybody is their own leader automatically. So everybody can document their own location. So basically, every employee is going to have a column, and then the job number rolls up to a winter ops job number. So we're not sending 50 rows to TRS, right? We rolled that up to help that TRS document. So as you scroll across through here, we'll try to not make you sick here, but we get over here and we see this blank box. That's a problem. So we can look down here and see this individual has time, but he does not have a job number. So that's going to let you know, I need to click on his time and give him a location, document a location for him, so it populates that job number. So that's just kind of a quick way of looking and seeing where those problems are at. You can hit submit and you get your messages, and they're still there as well. So you can see the same thing here. The project number, job number is missing. Sometimes these details don't make a lot of sense to us. They sometimes talk in a little bit of computer code. So if it's easier for you, do this expand all labor and look across through here and just look for empty boxes. You should never be able to submit, or should never submit with an empty box. That's a lot of information pretty quickly. Any questions about review and submit or your non-maintenance staff that you'll have coming to your buildings? All right, sounds good. I'll turn it back over to you guys.
All right, let's touch base with winter materials for just a second. There's a question here that came up on there. If you guys will go ahead and answer that quiz question there. When does the new Fleet Focus system go live? When is that there? So I'll let you guys answer that question. Tommy presented on a few minutes ago. That is right. Monday, November 4th, for those who have reported there. Awesome job. Thank you. All right. So let's go take a look at, that was not the screen I was wanting to share, guys. Here we go. Okay, so for those who are sitting with a winter material that you're using, that you have a part of there in your group, you know, a lot of times what we're seeing is that seldom are materials really changing much. We tend to kind of use the same stuff. So I'm gonna come in as Cliff Everett's up in Kansas City, and we'll take a look at what he's got on his material. So who can create mixed winter material? Again, this is an assistant supervisor, supervisor, and superintendents all have access to go in and make edits to this. This is what plays down to employees when they report their time, and they can say one scoop of what that is. So let me impersonate Cliff here. All right. So when we come into this, there's going to be this unique button for those assistant supervisors, superintendents, manage winter materials. Again, superintendents, they got to be down to a single building before they see it. But at Knob Noster, if I click manage winter materials, this is what they've got set up. Okay. And so they've got multiple items. Some of these are pretty much just straightforward commodities, but this is what he's able to then make everyone who comes to Knob Noster, this is what they get to see to pick from, right? Instead of just chasing a bunch of consumable inventory items. And he can call it what he wants. So he's got beet juice in here. It's got this beet juice agri, right? But he's going to report in gallons. His next one is chips. Now notice he's got that set up as scoop and buckets. Now one scoop of chips at his building weighs 2.5 tons. Those are important things to do. Measure that. Go and double check that. Get an average. What is an average bucket that we use? 2.5 tons. All of that is going to be this commodity. Now, sometime in the middle of the winter, right, something gets really crazy. We use all the chips, and now for some reason we're using a different commodity. Sure enough, he's going to be right back in here, and he's going to be having to update this, right? He might need to change it to a different commodity, but they're starting out with chips, and that's what this is. Limit 50 tons a day is what the limit is on that one that he's got set up. He's got cinders, same kind of deal. He says his cinders weighs 2.5 tons. Again, encourage you all, do some checking there, make sure that that looks right. Geomelt, ice band, he's got some straight salt. It weighs 2.11, all of it's salt. There's salt brine, sand. So for the most part, Chris doesn't have like a combined. Now, some of you got some really combined stuff. You've got a salt, you've got some cinders in there. You might even thrown in some bags of flake into it, and you can make this combined commodity. So please encourage you all, take a look at that. Go look at your mixed commodities. Go through that process. We have some help pages when you go in and actually work on these. We have some examples you can click on, and it'll kind of walk you down through the page there of items to consider when you're doing mixed winter materials. There's also in here, when you actually work on an individual item here, when I assign an inventory item to it, you have the ability, we've got some links to some spreadsheets to try to figure out what the things kind of weigh a little bit. So that's this winter mix calculator. I clicked the wrong button there. Take a look at that. That'll help you a little bit also. If you know some set weights, a lot of this stuff doesn't really change much when it comes to weight. So you can kind of come in here and say, hey, I put 1 bucket of the treated salt and 3 buckets of sand. What would that outcome be? What would that ton for 1 bucket of mixed commodity look like? But give us a call. Where we've seen this blow up is we've done something like, for some reason, we've said that the weight is 1,000 tons. And I mean, it happens, right? So pay attention. These are in tons. They're not in pounds unless you chose the weight to be pounds. So be mindful of those particular items. All right. Tommy, you want to touch base on a leave request bug that we found?
Question in
Michael,
the
you had
chat
a
real quick,
question.
Michael.
Oh, you bet. Question is, Mr. Mays, can we add a new material for winter if it's not in our inventory yet? Great question. No, until it shows up in your inventory, Jeff, you won't be able to add it over there. Now, it should be very basic. I should be able to call General Services in Kansas City, ask them to add a description, and it shows up basically the next day. You don't have to even have the commodity on your lot or anything. You just need that description of the commodity added to your warehouse. And that should be able to something they can do just easily, simple, no problem. Call them, they load it. But yeah, if it's not a description in your warehouse, great question, Jeff. You can't use it yet. So hopefully that answers your question there, Jeff. All right.
All right, thanks, Michael. All right, real quick. A couple weeks ago, someone found a bug in our leave calendar, and basically an employee was unable to delete a leave request. And we've got that fixed. That will be deploying on November the 8th is when that'll go out. But in order for an employee to delete a leave request, they're going to go down to it. You'll click the request, and then there should be a trash can that pops up. And what was happening, that trash can was not being displayed. And we've got that fixed, and that'll be going out soon. And that'll take care of that issue. So we just wanted to take a minute and show you guys that there was an issue. It will be resolved here quickly, just in case you've wondered what was going on or if you stumbled across yourself. The other big point of this too is if you see something that is not working properly or it doesn't seem to be working the way it used to, please let us know. Don't assume that somebody else has already let us know that. Just go ahead and send us a quick chat, email, call, whatever the case may be, and just give us some details, and we can take a look at it. Sometimes we don't know these things until you guys tell us. So please make sure to let us know if you see something unusual, and that way that'll allow us to fix it so not everybody continues to have issues or frustration with it. So real quick, but that fix will be coming real soon.
All right.
Michael, there you go.
Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate it. So we're going to spend our last little bit time. We got about 15 minutes left here. We're going to talk about the newest information with learning, Movers Learn, Mo.U, all of that kind of come better together. So before I go there, though, I know we've kind of been on a horse race all morning so far. Does anyone have a question, anything we've talked about they'd like to ask at this time that maybe we missed? You shoot it out or put it there in the chat. Okay. All right. So let's go talk a little bit about training data. All right. So I am impersonating Mr. Jay Johnson up in St. Louis. So I'm going to come in here and kind of just show you some functionality. We've been working towards this ability to have this combined movers Mo.U data for quite a while. And finally, last week we got to a point we felt comfortable of moving forward and bringing it into MMS. We're getting every morning, we're getting a little over 300,000 rows of data from movers every day. So what the data is that there's a stagnant data table of everything that was in Mo.U as of the end of May. And we've saved that, okay? And that sits over here, and it's saved, and that's historical, So, Jay's been here for a while, longer than 10 years. So we've got a lot of historical data sitting over here for Jay, right? And then movers came, and there was courses that are transferred into movers. I'll show you some of the names of those. But there's a lot of new stuff. I mean, people keep training, right? And so we got all kinds of new stuff that's been entered just only in movers. And so every morning we get everything that movers has. They send it to us. So again, this morning was 306,000 rows of data. And we combine that with what we knew historically to come up with a combined transcript. And so hopefully my email, again, I get it, guys. Probably some of y'all just have automatic delete when you see an email from me. I probably delete my own emails sometimes. But when what we're trying to show is just highlight some things of all the different places that training does hit. There's going to be some things that are missing. We know there has to be, as big as the deal as what we're working here, and we want you guys to reach out to us. So come in here as a supervisor, hit license and training. Okay, so the first page, just for those, again, this is all about the driver's license there for the St. Charles building, everything they've got. Professional licenses, there's some that we have in there, herbicide. Again, that's one of those things we encourage you all. Appreciate, Jay, your group doing that. Make sure your people who have herbicide licenses go in there, and as an employee, we got a video on that Randall made. They click that herbicide license the employee does, and they can get that entered into the system. But training courses. So this all has to do with you being a supervisor in this position. I've had the question already a couple of times. I appreciate it. I understand it. I got a crew leader calls me and says, "Hey, I'm told I'm the trainer for the building, but I can't have access." And I said, "Hey, I'm glad you're the trainer. That's awesome, but it's not how we set this up. This is for supervisors to see. It's not for crew leaders. Crew leaders get to see their own self, and that's it." And that's kind of the way it is with all training data that's sitting out here. So again, supervisors, assistants, be aware of that. You can see everything. Your crew leaders cannot. You can run something for them, but that's just not the way that that's set up there. This is something for you to see and those people that report to you. So Jay, you'll notice here, and I'm going to expand this, make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to put 100 rows of data. Let's just bring up, just happen to be whoever the first employee is. Notice how so many of these start with MoDOT, right? Those are things that were converted over to movers. Tried to convert the first 5 years worth of classes. If it was anything taught in MoDOT, they actually converted over as much as 10 years. So there's a lot that's converted. Now there's some things that weren't converted back and forth a little bit. But really what we need you to look at is anything missing, right? And you can kind of do a completion date, right? So I could go back here and I could pull up a particular person, and you could say, well, I go to, if it's okay, Jay, I'm going to grab your name here. Jay could say, okay, here's mine. It goes back to 2007. And Jay can kind of just start looking through this. He can print this out to PDF or Excel and see where this information is and where, is something missing there. Realistically, a large amount of things that we are checking with is more current things, but there's a lot of historical data that have equivalency set to them. So encourage you guys to take a look at those, look through that, see if there's anything just jumping out at you like, I know something's missing. So, for Jay here, look, I mean, this was just 2 weeks ago. So there's all of this stuff through here all the way till basically July 8th. That's all items directly entered into movers themselves. Okay. So give it a check. Actually, the way we want you to do, if you notice something that's missing, contact your district safety health manager. Okay. Or some of you might have already been told, hey, send all training rosters to here. Okay, whoever that is, right? There's probably just one or two people in the district. Call that person, ask them respectfully, hey, this employee is not showing up with anything from movers. Can you help me understand why rosters were not put in yet or what's kind of going on? Okay. Just ask that of them. Start with that person in the district that you're sending information to. Encourage all of you on the call. You're going to need to know who this one or two people are. It's very few in a district now. And they can help you answer this question of where something might be sitting or not entered or didn't get or something like that. But you're getting everything that's in movers as of what was there yesterday is what you're getting. Okay. I've had two supervisors call me. He said, Mike, we're missing an employee. Perfect check again. Jay, check, make sure that you got all your employees. What that is there has been some issues on some new employees that their name wasn't over there in movers yet. They were still working through it. So I had a call from a southeast building. That was the case. The employee had been here since maybe about August. It just had not got updated yet. So again, follow that same route. Go to who you're sending rosters to. Call them, ask them. They might get you in touch with someone in central office. I'm not sure. But for the most part, you're following that same line of communication of how or where is this as far as getting it to mo.u. All right. Once you've done that, I would encourage you all, go to assigning work. I would go assign absolutely everything. So, Jay, I would pick an activity, one of your crew leaders. Maybe you guys have already done it. Oh, I lost my, hang on just a second there. I need to go back and pick up Jay here. So I would encourage all of you to go to your assigned work. I think several of you have already done this. Pick an activity. I don't know the perfect activity to pick, but you could do winter if you want. There's nothing wrong with that one. I kind of go back and forth. I'm trying to figure the activity's probably got the most amount of equipment. For signal guys, yeah, pick arterial management and sign everything, but pick that activity, and then try and pick one of every type of fleet. Okay, grab one dump truck, grab one pickup, grab a loader, grab an excavator, grab a sweeper, grab a skid steer. If you guys use a roller that you use, go look that up too, right? Get every type of piece of equipment that you have. And then come over to your assigning work. And again, I am doing this in production, but we can delete it, right? Select all employees, and then I would click here, and this is what Randall and I and Tommy were doing. I would put every single role on every single person. Just click through them real fast. Really didn't take me that long to do it. And then add every single piece of this equipment to every single employee. By doing that, you're going to start getting these alerts of what does this person not have. Okay? And you're going to start, okay, wait a second, street sweeper, why isn't that right? Oh, we're calling that 4098. What is that job? What is that course number? I do want to show you. Notice how these do not have that MoDOT number in front of them. There's a bunch of equivalent stuff we're doing in the background. At some point, this stuff will change to that new naming culture. We are connecting it all today. We just haven't changed it so that the course now calls out MoDOT 24509. But we've got all of those things in the background. They do match up, but we just haven't changed this side yet. Look through that. Kind of makes sense. Herbicide license. Where'd that come from? Well, that came from that page earlier, right, Jay, where you had two of your employees that put in their herbicide license. Very easily, this employee doesn't have one, and it's like, check, that's perfectly right. But why these other things? So work through every single person like that. Just click down through them, okay? I also want to just remind and ask everyone, we have got to be doing a very thorough job of assigning work, all the equipment, all the roles, everything. We've got to use this data to flush out who is not trained. And at the same time, as you all know, the data's got to be right too, and that's what we're forcing. We've got to force our data system to be current and informational on what we actually have. So work through each one of those. You can see that piece there. After you go through everything, guys, get down here. You can hit done, and then you can actually get that all in one report over on your assigning work side, and you can start working through that. So this is something probably assigned a leader to two of them, I bet. Yeah. So once you do this, this is something, again, you can have your crew leaders help you, right? Because they can assign work here, right? But they just cannot go and run a report that shows what every employee has. They can't do that part. But work through those. Come click on that dot there and run that report. What is everybody missing? It gives you a great place to start right now. What are they missing? I'm not telling you go enroll someone immediately for a class. I'm saying start having that conversation. So, Jay's going to call up the district safety health manager in St. Louis and start working through this. What's missing, what's not there. Jay, pull up the transcript. Look through those pieces there, see what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that, Jay. I don't want that on your deal there. You can repeat that if you want to. Okay, so do that for work. Do that for assigning. Load everything. Run through it. Check it. Then go, and you could have done this before you came to assigning work, but go to Career Ladder. Okay, and I want you to go to Career Ladder, like for Jay's right now. Right, he doesn't have any employees who are sitting within 2 months of promotion, but hit Show All, and then you start seeing all these employees show up. Let's go grab the employee who is the closest. So Heath over here is getting close. So I'm gonna hit View, and I can scroll down here and I can look at what do they have, right? And this is looking great, right? He's only missing a couple of items. He's missing ICS 100 and OSHA 10. You can easily, right here on Career Ladder, scroll up and hit that training record right there, okay? And that's going to give you real time, again, a total transcript of this employee, of what we know of them. What have they completed? What's the dates? What's that look like to look at? So again, supervisors, assistants, this is your world. Go look at these things. The employee can go look at their own too, but you can see exactly what we have, what it was credited to them, what they've got showing up there for that. Okay, so transcript, ladder license leave, career ladder. Go and look at that. See what that looks like. Some of you have employees who got some temporary waivers over the last couple of months because we didn't have all the current data. Those should all be filled in now. We've notified HR. We've asked them to go look through every one of them, see what's still missing, because they said it should have been done, so they should all be checked off. Go look at those. The last item is the safety dashboard. This also has been updated. So the safety dashboard will come, and it's those required trainings for job title. So you're going to be looking down here. Great number, Jay. Awesome. Keep going at it, man. But likely everybody's number went up. Likely, right? But go look at that training data. Go see where you're sitting at. Now what's different about this report underneath safety dashboard, this is my job title, right? So not everything an employee is taken in their entire history. This is more of what is required for your job title as a senior maintenance worker, a senior signal lighting technician, a intermediate bridge maintenance worker, right? And so now you can come in here and you can check and say, okay, I need to know who is missing something. Again, this is a really good check to find out what is being missed. And where you're trying to get to basically on these things here, you might hide a couple of these, is you're trying to get to this completed course date over here. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to uncheck and I'm going to go get the blanks. So this is everything that we're saying we don't have anything completion for that person. And so that's that good spot of, okay, but I thought you said that you brought everything in. What's being missed? Exactly right. Another good place to start running through. And this might be a better place to start initially, right? Of something that's being missed. These are really good things to go and see, okay, I know we all took ICS there 6 months ago. Okay, go down your process, call that district safety health manager, start that discussion. Where's the roster? Where's the transcript? Where's it at? Has it been passed along? Is it whatever, right? So again, I know that's a lot, but you guys have made so many of these connections already um, with this ladder license leave and how we're combining everything together. Give the dedicated team a call if you have some specifics. We will help all that we can to kind of run down some individual people's situations there on that. I know there's going to have to be some issues. There's just too much things here we're trying to connect with. There isn't something that's like something that we need to look into more. So please start with, hey, I know they took that course. Call safety officer first. Find out where's that roster. Has it been given to central office? What's the deal there? And if it still seems like something just doesn't sound right, give us a call. Okay. Last couple of things I want to share, and then we'll be done. We're looking at changing our training for both November and December. So because try to get out of the holidays, we're going to go for November 19th. That'll be the Tuesday, the week before Thanksgiving. We'll do our monthly training to try to get out of Thanksgiving week. And we're going to do the same thing for Christmas. We'll go December 17th. Again, get us out of that Christmas week so that we can have our training before those times. So last thing that we want to announce, we have our new MMS help desk. And so, Tommy, I'm going to let you introduce our new MMS help desk member that's be joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So I do want to announce that Jessica Gobin will be joining us. She's coming over from IS, and she just recently completed her 5th year here at MoDOT with a couple of different divisions. We're super excited to have her come on board. She's excited about it. I think she's going to be taking Cherie's role, and actually Cherie's going to be coming back as a temporary TPT with us, and she'll be working with us a little bit. She's really assigned to central office maintenance, but we're super excited to have Jessica come on board. She starts on Friday, will be her first day, and we'll get back to having that consistent voice that answers the MMS help desk and phone for you guys. She has a lot to learn, and she's going to do a good job coming up to speed, and we're just really excited to have her come on board and get the team back together and get it solid so that we have good support for you guys. So you'll see more of her. We'll talk more about her as we go through these, and we'll have her get on camera next month and show her face and do all that good stuff. So.
All right. Thank you all again. Appreciate you guys. Be careful. Be safe out there. I don't know about y'all. I'm praying for some rain. We need a little bit of moisture in the southern part of the state and probably across the whole area. But take care. Give us a call. See ya.